Thank you, everyone, for coming. These are always difficult circumstances. Certainly want to recognize Bob Bradley and Mike Sorber, who I've worked closely with over the last couple of seasons, and just difficult conversations and a difficult moment. But today I want to spend about looking forward. I'm going to restructure and have restructured the sporting department. We will have a first-team head coach. We've appointed Terry Dunfield as the interim right now. He'll be assisted by Dejan Jakovic and Chris Posniak, all three of them former MLS players. If you know Terry, you know the spirit that he's going to bring to this situation, and I'm very excited for him. We have a short list of head coach candidates that we have identified. And we will look to seek permission and start an interview process. Terry will be in that pool that we have identified. I'm going to announce today, Jason Hernandez has been promoted to General Manager. Jason will work very closely with the head coach. Jason will be in charge of the roster for the first and the second team, salary cap management, agent relations, player management, salary cap, scouting, analytics, and so on, and I think is well deserving of the role, and he'll be available for questions and answers as well. We will have sports medicine is an area that we're going to look to improve on, and that will be separated out as its own functionality reporting into me as well, and then certainly our academy. So we'll have a first-team head coach, general manager, sports science head, and the academy, and those will be the four functional areas going forward. So, I don't think any of us expected to be here where we are with the record with the first team. And I apologize to our fans that we are in this moment making a coaching change. And, with the years that I've been here, through the highs and the lows, this is one of the most difficult moments of my career. And you take some lessons that you've learned, and I am fully committed to getting this going in the right direction. And I think with Jason and some of the moves that we're going to make, we can hopefully salvage this season and get pointed in the right direction going forward. So I will take whatever questions and answers you have, and then I'm going to invite Jason to come up and have a word as well. And I understand you'll also speak to Terry after training today. So we'll open it up to the floor.
Bill, can you talk about the timing? Why now in terms of Bob being let go, as opposed to why didn't it happen earlier? Or on the other side, why not give him more time? Why was now?
Yeah. It's I have nothing but respect for Bob, and with that, tried everything we could as an organization to support him and to give every opportunity to succeed. And just at the end of the day, our results weren't where anyone wanted to be, and then I think including Bob. And it was just at this time that I felt we needed a new direction. And it's with a heavy heart because Bob's a good man and has had a lot of success in his career, but it wasn't working. And we should be better. And so made the decision to part with Bob and look forward on what we can do to have the right coach to bring this team forward to a better record.
Well, why do you think it didn't work under him?
So, yeah. I think it's hard to pinpoint one area, John. I think it's been, death by 1,000 cuts in some ways. And there's moments of, as Bob would say, really good football, he'd like to say, but it was never complete. And we've been a season and a half in, and you just we'd take a step forward and you'd take a step back, and we weren't getting anywhere. And, you know, when you're a couple of points away from the playoff line, you're one win away, but we find ourselves 7 points below the playoff line right now. And I think there's many different reasons. I don't think there's one reason. But I also think that we can sometimes, in the worst moments, people come together. And I think this group of players, I think this front office, I think this staff, in this moment, can come together and rally a bit. And we're going to take one game at a time going forward. That is the message I gave to the players this morning. And I am fully committed to doing whatever I can to get this team going in the right direction. And it's about the right people in the room, the right players on the field, and everyone coming together. And it's been a very difficult season and a couple of seasons here, John.
So, like a year and a half ago, you were telling us about a 5-year plan that you pitched to the MLSE board. Where exactly is TFC supposed to be right now in terms of that 5-year plan?
You know, like I said, you know, Michael, it's a great question. No one expected to be where we are right now. You know, we expected to have a team that would be, you know, certainly within the playoffs, a team that was going to be competitive. You know, the 5-year plan was really towards the World Cup. So how can we build this team back up such that when the World Cup is played here in 2026, we have some players that hopefully are on a national team representing Canada, maybe some other countries, and our team is in a really good place competing for champions. You know, it hasn't gone according to plan. And, you know, the one thing that I've learned in this business is not everything goes according to plan, but you need to be adaptable, you need to be flexible, and you need to learn. And right now, I think we need a new course direction. And, you know, I'm excited for what can come, and I'm disappointed in how we got here. And, you know, I take responsibility for that. Again, you know, I know how the fans feel, and I hope they stick with us, and I hope they can rally around Terry and around Jason and around our guys, because it's a tough moment. But like I said, you know, the plan has not gone according to plan, and so I felt it was time to, I guess, you go to Plan B, and try to get this point in the right direction.
When recruiting players, TFC have always valued both on-field product but also off-field product.
Yep.
Has the two Italians met your expectations both on the field and off the field?
Look, I think, you know, the results right now, because I look at team, and bringing in those two players to be leaders and to be, you know, as designated players, to be leading our team to victory. So the results are not there, and I think both of them tell you that. They're disappointed, and but it does take a team, and it's not just those two guys. I think it's both on the field and off the field. We have not been in harmony, and we have not been in sync. And you know, during my career, I've been fortunate to have moments where it all comes together, and you get good results. And I just felt now was that time that we needed better results. And I challenged Lorenzo and Fede, as well as the other players, that we all need to look in the mirror, and we all need to be accountable, and we need to do better. And you know, at the end of the day, though, a team is not just a group of players. It's people that trust each other and that have each other's back. And I think we need to just kind of reset right now. And the expectations for those guys are always high. And I know they probably have higher expectations than I even have for them. But you know, I'm hoping that both of them will step to the plate, because now is when we're going to need some leadership on the field. And we do expect them to help lead this team to victory.
Bill, in this new team, new structure with the 4 branches, what's your role, and how does your role change?
So, I'm club president, and, at the end of the day, the business functions, the commercial functions, the operations and administration of the club, the finances, the facilities, and the sporting all report into me. And I just felt that at this time, we needed to restructure, to balance what I think the needs of the sporting department right now, and have more collaboration within kind of those different functional areas across the academy, sports science, the management, in terms of the general manager role, and the first team head coach. And so, all 4 of those areas, Anthony Capitosto, Jason, potential new hire, Carmelo Loeb, our head athletic trainer, is going to take that role for now, and along with our team doctor, Ira Smith, report into me, and then Terry Dunfield, obviously, is interim right now. And look, at the end of the day, our commercial business and everything else is better when the team's winning. And that is the most important job that I have, and that, everyone in the organization has. We, when we talk internally, and even our sales guys will tell you, the most important thing is supporting the players and to do what we can do to win. And we haven't done that. We haven't done a lot of that in the last few years. And so I take, great pride in this organization. And again, I can't say enough how I feel for the fans. It has not gone according to plan, and they deserve better. And I hope that we can get this going in the right direction, and they stick with us, and they see that brighter days are going to be in front of us.
When Greg and Bez were here,
Yep.
you guys were the 3-headed monster,
Yeah.
like making
Yep.
team decisions, recruitment.
Yep.
With Bob, it was you and Bob. So with Jason in charge, does that change your role, or are you still going to be very much?
No,
part of how this
I've
team
always been the
builds?
club president for 8 years, right? And so basically, everything reports into me. And, you used the word collaboration. We had a very good, system here, and we had some continuity. One of the things I'm challenged with right now is generally during my best days as a team president, whether it's been here or some other clubs, there's been a continuity of staff, of players, and a way of thinking and an alignment. And it's not always agreeing, but it's agreeing that you're all together and aligned. And, we had a great run for 5 years with TFC, and I was part of that. And as president, it was good. And you get now 2.5 seasons where we have not met expectations, and I'm still the president, and it's been very humbling. I have, as I mentioned, this is my 22nd season as a president or a general manager. I started way back with the Long Island Rough Riders in 1996. And I've had a lot of wins, and I've been fortunate to be part of teams that had trophies. And it's never about me, it's about the people in the room. And you mentioned Tim and Greg, and we had a real good thing going. And my goal is to replicate a structure that brings people together and aligns around a team on the field that can win. And you can have the best front office staff, but you need players that can win for you. You can have the best players, but if your coaching staff and your front office and so on is not in sync, things don't always go the way you want. So my goal now is to have a structure with Jason, with our head coach. It's no secret that we've been very challenged with injuries over the last few seasons, and that is an area I think we have to improve on as well. And then our academy We see a number of players that are on the first team that have come up through our academy. And, that is an area that will continue to be important to us. Anthony Capitosto has done a good job there, and he'll have 5 teams under his supervision. But, my goal as team president is to make sure all of those functioning areas work together and what's best for the club.
Last question for me.
Yeah.
There was from Greg to Chris to Bob, there's been 3 very different, distinct styles of play. And that changes the mandate in terms of the academy kids all the way through the
Yeah,
club.
yep.
So do you know how you want TFC to play, what the identity moving forward you want it to be in this club, and you know how to kind of take it there?
Yeah.
Whether it's through personnel or coaches or.
Yeah, look, it's, I understand the question, and I've had many discussions about this with friends and colleagues. I want to win. And at the end of the day, no one really remembers how you play. They remember your results. They remember your results on the field. And, we have a group of players that I think are better than our record shows. And as team president, I don't want to describe the style of play. I want to have a coach that can take the players we have and put them on the field and have, whether tactically or stylistically, can put them in the best position to succeed. And, I think all our fans want is our team to succeed. And you can talk about different styles of play, but at the end of the day, I want to win. And I'm hoping that we can have a head coach that we bring in that can lead this team to victory. And myself and Jason and the rest of the staff are going to try to do everything we can to make sure we support Terry in the interim and whoever is the permanent head coach to win. So pretty straightforward answer, Gareth. And, it's really, at the end of the day, it's about getting results.
Bill, you mentioned.
Sorry.
You mentioned how you've been here 8 years.
Yep.
So I don't think it's out of line to suggest that you bear some responsibility for the.
100%,
franchise.
100%.
So given that, why should you stay on as president, especially given the last 2 months?
Well, look, I've been president for 8 years, and we had a lot of good years, and these have been troubling. And I'll tell you, this is the most challenging moment of my career, my 22-year career, 25 years in some ways. I look back on my own experience and what have I learned over those years. And I wouldn't be in this position if I didn't win in my career, and been fortunate enough to have some trophies and multiple teams that have won. And I am, losing humbles you, and it is not fun. But I have such a conviction to turn this around, and I bear great responsibility. And it's it's difficult, but there's nothing more I want to do than raise this team up again to win some trophies. And that, for me, I talk about, you have to visualize things, and failure is part of life. Like I've done a lot of self-reflection, and it's easy to feel good about yourself when you're winning. And I will always bet on myself, and I know it's not about me though. It's about a group of people coming together to get performance and to help a team win. And I'm going to lean on the lessons I've learned over the years. And more than ever, I'm convicted. And I was alluding to, the next trophy for me is going to be the most gratifying, because this has been the most difficult moment of my career. And I have no doubt that we can get TFC back in a place where we can compete for championships. And I hope the fans will stick with us, and I hope that I can give them a reason to believe.
Bill, on the coaching search, is there a timeline that you have in mind, or do you see Terry
taking this team into?
Yeah, there is. My goal is to move fairly quick. And, Jason and I have bandied around some names. This is, the head coach will work day in and day out with Jason on this roster and this team, along with myself. We have 4 games coming up. We have Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, and then the following Saturday. And Terry's going to give everything he can. And as I mentioned, we are going to interview Terry as part of this process. We have Leagues Cup then, and if we find the right coach and we make the permanent hire before then we do. And if we ride it out further with Terry, then we do. So there is, I will say that sooner than later, but I haven't said, I don't have a definitive timeline, but we're going to, today I'm going to call on some of the candidates that, and start to set up the interview process. Jason will join me with those, and we'll make a decision at the right time.
So can you clarify, is Paul Stalteri still part of the staff?
Yeah, he is. So Paul, we're going to meet with Paul, and we're going to talk about where he fits in the organization and how we can best utilize him going forward.
So does Terry get so many games, or?
I mean, the next 4 games, Terry's going to be the coach. And as I mentioned, we're going to start right away, the interview process for permanent head coach. And again, Terry will be part of that process. Over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, hopefully we can meet with the candidates we've identified. It's a small pool, and make some decisions. And so these next 4 games, I think it's fair to say that Terry's going to be coaching the team. And, look, we support Terry 100%. And, again, I smile because Terry's going to bring some energy to this team and some life to this team.
You had a really unique situation here where Bob's son was not only on the team, but he's the team captain. How did you approach that situation?
Look, it is what it is. I have so much respect for Michael, and have been through the ups and downs with him here at TFC. There is a separation, Michael the player, and I can't speak for him, his relationship with Bob, father and son. But for me, with the club, we made the decision we had to make, and we're moving forward. And, I hope Michael continues on his recovery and can contribute when he comes back. I think we've missed him. No, I'll take more, yeah.
Sure. Well, just to circle back to something you said earlier about, relying on your experience and
Yeah.
whatnot. I appreciate that, Bill, but just the last 2 major appointments you made, whether it was Ali or Bob,
Yep.
it didn't work out. So
Yep.
I guess I'm just wondering, can you understand why there might be some sort of skepticism?
100%,
Some
John.
fans about,
Yeah.
you might not be the person to lead this team.
No, look, John,
What would you say to that?
again, when you hire someone, when you appoint someone, you don't anticipate it not going well. And again, I challenge everyone. I've talked to, colleagues I've talked to and some people that have been mentors in my career. And everyone experiences moments that don't go their way. And it doesn't mean that they're not right for the job, or it doesn't mean that they're a failure, or it doesn't mean they stink at their job. It's how you deal with that, and it's how you react, how you adapt. And for me, I having the pulse of the club, I feel that I'm confident, again, I will bet on myself that I'm going to make the right appointments here that are going to help us win. And you're right, John, the last few years have not gone well. But I think my accomplishments during my career helped give me a unique view of what it takes to win in this league. And I believe in myself, and I believe in those that are around me right now to set this right. And I hope the fans will hang in there with us. And, at the end of the day, I do hope to win again and to hoist a trophy, and then hopefully the fans will say, okay, Bill, thanks. But I got to prove it, and we need to make the right moves to get there.
Bill, there's been a lot of tough things that have been reported and said over recent weeks and months. Does winning cure that? Or does there need to be a cultural reset so anonymous sources aren't speaking out against the club? Like, it's been a tough time.
No, I think, I don't know who said it, but someone said that winning solves everything, right? And, but when you win, there's always things, during our best years, there's always things that happen, but for the most part, things are going right, and things are aligned and blurred together. So with winning, there's a lot that's going right. And margins are thin, though. And sometimes, and John, you alluded to this a little bit earlier, sometimes there's little things that go wrong and they add up, and you get off course. And in some ways, we've been stuck in second gear for a few years now, and we just have not been able to continue those steps forward. You've seen moments again where you see a light, and then that path gets a roadblock. And I think winning solves a lot of things. But winning is an attribute. Winning is something that you force to happen, but winning is contagious too. And once you start to pick up some momentum, not only your players, but your staff, and then your fans all start coming together, and you get these all-for-one moments, which is what we had going on with this club for a number of years. So, winning is it's a real thing, and we haven't done a lot of it lately. And it's on me and our staff and our players to start piling up some wins.
Are you scared that, for lack of a better word, that this could scare off the Italians and you attracted their club and their belief in making this right until 2026?
You're talking about Lorenzo and Fede or fans?
No, the two.
Well, am I scared? No. Both of them were recruited here to help us win and to add to the level of our players. And it has not been seamless. And it's been frustrating for them, and it's been frustrating for the club. I'm sure it's been frustrating for the fans. And I know both of them want to help, and they want this club to get going in the right direction. They both have their own ideas, but I also think they see the bigger picture, and they're frustrated too. And so, as a club, me and the club, we're relying on them. We want them to help lead us. And so I'm not scared because I know them both, but we're counting on them to help deliver.
Considering how much you invested in them, will their input be taken in consideration regarding the head coaching position? And
No.
the style of play that
No, players always have their way of trying to voice things, whether it's with current coaches or potential coaches or so on. But no, Jason and I will do the interviews, and like I mentioned, we have a short list of candidates, and players have a way, though, of shooting you a note if names are out there, but we're going to try to keep this very private and be respectful of whoever we're speaking to, and I'm not going to consult with the players or those two.
Bill, why doesn't this team have a third designated player?
We do. It's Jonathan.
Our traditional designated player?
Yeah, we just, the way we're constructed right now is Jonathan takes up that third spot.
Is it a budget issue?
I mean, yeah, we did not budget, more than I guess it would be the max TAM, low DP threshold for our third DP. So whether it's Jonathan or whether we recruited someone else, right now, we can't, from a salary budget standpoint, go out and get a third DP, because then Jonathan would be well over the salary cap. So Jonathan's the third DP,
At what point was that decision made then?
when we re-signed Jonathan.
That you wouldn't have a third natural DP?
Right, he was going to be a third DP, yeah.
And then considering that, then, how much budget does this team have to go and spend on potentially a high profile?
Yeah, no, it's tight right now. Oh, for a coach? I mean, look, the coach right now is we're going to hire the right coach. And so there's, the consideration is the right coach. It's different when you talk about salary cap with players and so on. So that, Jason is going to be in charge of salary cap management, and, we will do what we can do, and Jason has some ideas on what we can do to help improve the team. There are two different distinctions between the budget of the club and then the salary cap of the player personnel.
Bill, at the beginning of the campaign, you told me that the off-season was kind of spent focused mostly on strengthening the first 11, really sort of getting, the first 11 up to speed, and that the depth beyond that would be kind of addressed as the season progressed. Looking back on that, and I know hindsight is a wonderful thing, but in retrospect, was that the right move? Could you not have done both at the same time?
I think hindsight always is difficult to talk about, right? Because you can say, hey, we should have done this, we should have done that. There was a belief by the staff that certain players or profiles needed to be brought in to help the team win. And I also think there was a belief that some of the younger players who got a lot of minutes last year could step in and contribute at a higher level. And right now, we have not gotten it on either front. And it's been disappointing. And like I mentioned, it's not what we envisioned. And so hindsight is easy, right? And so for me, it's about going forward and what we can do on the field and off the field to put this team in a position to win.
Okay, but sorry, to keep it on
Okay.
track, can we bring Jason?
Yes,
Do
yes,
we have
sure.
him coming up later?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, what have conversations been like with the board lately?
No, look, I have contact with my bosses, and, everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to win. And, we're making, this discussion today is about what we're doing to try to set our team on a path going forward to win. And so it's frustrating, right, because we've had some tough season last year and even the year before. And, again, it's humbling, but I don't know how to put it in words. I am more driven to succeed probably than any point in my life, because when you fail, there is no, it's not good. And when you lose, it's not something that is in my DNA. And so my drive every day and every waking moment is what we can do to help improve this team. And again, I hearken back on some of the best teams that I've been part of and have led, and I hope to replicate some of that. They're never the same. There's always differences. There is no secret sauce, but I do believe that the changes we've made now and some of the changes we'll make going forward will help get us going in a better direction. And I'm incredibly confident in Jason. And I still think we have some players that can do more and that can be better. And then we have the infrastructure here at MLSE and TFC, I think, to support the team and our players to win. So hopefully that's a good answer for you, Michael. Appreciate everyone's time. Thank you. I do want to introduce Jason. Very proud of this young man, a player in the league for 14 seasons. Joined us 6 seasons ago. This is his 6th season in the front office. First as player engagement, and then as assistant general manager, has increased his role over the last year, and he's ready. He's ready for this moment, and someone I have great confidence in. And I really am very proud of this moment to introduce Jason as our new general manager.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. Nice to see you all. How's it going? First, I just want to thank Bill. I want to thank Larry Tannenbaum, and I want to thank the board at MLSE for having the belief in me and granting me this opportunity. It's something I've worked tremendously hard for. You know, it is a little bit of bittersweet in this moment. You know, the idea that I'm here means that, you know, throughout the season, things didn't go as planned, and, you know, we have to make a change. And so with that, to Bill's point earlier, you know, I just want to also say thank you to Bob and Mike, who spent a lot of time with me. You know, I'll miss our football discussions and talking about the game and different variables and all the different things surrounding the sport in our league. At the moment, you know, this opportunity is mine, and I'm ready for it. I'm excited for it. You know, I'm looking forward to bringing energy, life, honesty, authenticity, all the things that I remember when I was a player I would look for from upper management and a general manager, and sometimes you would get it and sometimes you wouldn't. And so a lot of those wants that I had, I'm hopeful that I can bring that to this group of players, be supportive to the staff, and support Bill as we, you know, continue to turn the page and address how we're going to move forward and move forward together. I think one of my responsibilities very quickly will be to formalize and further build out my side of the building and the department and what it all looks like. To Bill's point, I think there was there were stretches here where the club felt like the different arms and different departments were operating with a tremendous synergy, and it was felt throughout the building. And I think, to be quite honest with you, since COVID and people returning from work and being remote and the whole bit, we still are working towards reaching our full potential as far as that is concerned. And I think that'll be something that hopefully I can help us achieve as a club. And I think, you know, I'm very thankful to be here. And so I look forward to the work. You know, it's interesting. Change can be challenging when we do something like this. Change can be, it can be uncomfortable at times. And so, you know, the players will have their opportunity now with a bit of a reset, you know, to embrace the challenge that is before them. People get a clean slate and an opportunity to show what they're about, who they are, remove a bit of, call it, the variables, and now it's just, will a group come together to play for the badge, to play for the city, to play for the club? And if they will, great. And if, you know, there are people that don't want to be a part of what we're doing moving forward, we'll address that as well. You know, change can be challenging, but I would say I'm up for the challenge. And as far as change being uncomfortable, I guess, you know, I've been very comfortable being uncomfortable for a while, so I'm all right. And this is where I'm supposed to be. This is the moment I'm supposed to be with this club, and I'm ready for it. So with that, I'll say, are there any questions?
Jay, when you sort of triage the situation, what do you see as sort of your immediate
this water quickly. Immediate priorities. So, one, I would say, I think internally, we're gonna quickly work on a project where I think maybe removes a little bit of the subjective nature to which we all probably feel about the group and the performances and the team. I think we're gonna do a little bit of a deep dive in the analytics and the numbers to understand players as individuals, players as a whole, things that we're doing on the field and not doing on the field. What does that look like compared to, call it, the top 5 clubs we recognize throughout the league? What does that look like versus the league average? What do players look like in comp to, their role in the opposition? Just to say, do we really sit with the group and the individuals in the way that we believe we do, or do the facts bear that out? That'll probably be number one. Number two, what I would say the imminent conversation, discussions, negotiations with Richie Larea. Trying to do our best to get that over the line, because Richie has been someone that we've really valued, someone that I know really personally as a person, first and foremost, but as a player, and trying to find a way to move forward with him. So, call it imminent and time-sensitive things. Those will probably be the first two.
Where are you guys at with in terms of that Richie Loran negotiation? It seems like he's weighing other options beyond TFC.
Yeah, I think, and rightfully so. The idea is we're getting to the end of the loan here, and if we haven't landed on exact terms, I would expect the player to be weighing his options. For us, I think it's really clear that we value Richie. To me, he's been arguably our top performer this whole season. I don't know if it's much of an argument, and so the idea is we're gonna do our best. The reality is the financial conditions that come with doing Richie, his personal terms versus what we do with Nottingham, all of that. You have to take it on its merits at the end of the day. And so we're going to walk down the path as far as we can get. Richie is someone that we value. I value him as a person and as a player. And so I'm hopeful there, but it's still in the works.
Is there any indication that he's leaning one way or the other yet? It's 3 months away.
I wouldn't say that, but, I just got the job today, Mike. So, when I'm done here, I'm going to call my wife, and then, I'll get on it. So I'll let you know.
Jay, you had a pretty close connection to Bob. I guess, how do you feel about sort of replacing him? And two, is there anything that you sort of learned from him while working under him that you take in terms of this new role that you think will help you along?
Sure. Yeah. Like I mentioned before, it's a little bittersweet. Obviously Bob is someone that has played a role in my career before TFC. So, he's a guy that I value very much, how he goes about his work. I value very much on the ideas and the experience, and in many ways he's an encyclopedia of football. And to be around that every day and to be able to glean some of that experience, knowledge, firsthand things that I would never have, it was pretty important, and it was really helpful. And so, Bob, like what I would say is many other smart, sharp football people that I've come across in the past, I make sure to take advantage of all those moments, and I make sure to add as many tools to the toolbox as I can.
Jason, congratulations.
Thanks.
The expectation that we heard from Bill is for the club to win. Is this team, in your opinion, good enough to win now, or is there work that you need to do in the window here in the summer to add or maybe even take away?
Yeah, I would say it's both. The team is good enough to win now, and there's work to be done. So, the balance always is trying to understand how you continue to work and plan for the future without sacrificing the present. I think we've had moments looking back over the last 2 years where we feel like in preparation for the next window and the next year and all of these things, and sometimes we've kind of put ourselves behind the 8 ball with the present, and we've been a little thin and a little young and in certain extent. So I think, the idea is with a reset, with a new voice comes new opportunity. And I think if you look on paper and you look at our first 20 guys, considering an MLS campaign, how many games there are, the travel, the whole bit, I feel quite good about those 20 guys. Now, the reality is we haven't had access to those 20 guys, or 25 guys really, for long stretches of the season. And we're not talking about inconsequential guys. We're talking about important pieces. So, there's only, I think, so much of the game that we rely on to be played on paper. Inevitably, the results are what they are. And so, there's going to be some real thought into what happens in this next window here, and really, what do the performances look like straight away? And that'll tell us what we need to know.
The number 9 position is obviously one that's unavoidable. And speaking about this team, you have 1 or 2 goals from the position. You have about 5 or 6 players who could all play that role. Is that a move that you can address in the summer window, or is that more of a long-term venture? And are you confident the players that you have available at that position at present time?
Yeah, so it's a move we can address in the summer. Given all the different MLS roster mechanisms, there's ways to do it. The question is, this is my first day on the job. Given today, do we land on the right guy in the summer window that gets us what we need? And so, what I would say is we certainly are going to do all of the work necessary to present every interesting opportunity and put it on the table to discuss. Clearly, the striker position has not yielded the results that we need. And I think, there now is opportunity to, if we look a little different from a formation perspective, from a tactical perspective, do our strikers look a little different? So we're going to quickly see, what are the different wrinkles in the team in the short term, and very quickly look to see how we can address it moving forward.
Last one for me. There's been a pronounced youth movement across Major League Soccer. This is a very veteran team. There's a lot of experience in it. Is that an area that needs to be addressed? In doing so, Kobe's been a great story this year, has really worked out, but the alignment between the first team and the academy, is that like a priority for you to make sure that you're maximizing on what you have? Thanks.
Yes, I believe so. I think, the age of the team in the moment, certainly it's not what I would say by accident, right? We make the roster moves and the investment in the team to say, well, we want to win as quickly as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to get guys who've won. We're going to get guys who've been in the league, who've won in the league, who know what it takes to win in the league. Typically, those guys are older. Typically, those guys, unfortunately, because they're older, there isn't a chance of injuries. And typically, if those guys are any good or pretty good, there's a chance they're called into their national teams. And so, you do all of these things and you try to weigh the different variables and all of the things that can happen. What I would say is, objectively speaking, as much as I can, it feels like everything that could have happened did, and guys going down, guys needing surgeries, guys getting muscle injuries, guys. If you look at our number 6 position, Michael has been an Iron Man forever, and Michael gets injured. And the guy who we actually invested in, groomed, to begin to get reps in the space, he does his ankle, and he's down for a while. So, the idea that we're preparing the team in a way that could sustain an injury here, an injury there, one guy, 2 guys. When you continue to remove pieces from the chessboard, you get what we got. So I think the idea of how do we continue to modify the roster such that we look more like a balanced 11, a balanced 20, a balanced 31. That's going to be an ongoing challenge. But getting players in at peak ages is going to be important because whomever coaches the team moving forward, in this league you need that. So that'll be part of it.
How would you describe the team's salary cap situation?
The salary cap situation in the moment, what I would say is it's complex. There are different things we can do but the conditions surrounding those things would mean X 6 months from now or 12 months from now. And so the balancing act that we're playing right now is trying to weigh, call it the short-term decision-making versus the long-term hindrance. And so it's not an easy thing to do. Every MLS team deals with it because we're all on the same cap. And so it's going to be an exercise each window, as we understand what makes the most sense in the time, with also keeping an eye on for what's to come.
Do you, with Fede and Lorenzo coming up on a year's service at TFC, will you now be able to sort of gain that extra international sort of slot because they're going to have a year's service to a Canadian club under their belts, much like you did when you signed Victor at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, great question. So unfortunately, we reached out to the league, and we were told that players who have a year's service, they need to basically, how would you even say it? They need to have completed that full year of service prior to roster compliance date. So because now we're in the summer, roster compliance was, the first week of the season. So because they had not reached the full 12 months, they cannot be slid over to, call it the green card international slots. So unfortunately, we'd have to wait till March of next season, I guess, February of next season to do that.
It seems pretty arbitrary.
I wouldn't argue with you.
Time for one more question.
Jason, why is Terry the right voice for this group right
Well, I think Terry has coached at multiple levels. He's played overseas. He's played in MLS. In this building, he has a unique perspective as far as the different things he's seen and experienced in his young coaching career. Being with Canada Soccer, being a guy who played at Man City, like all of these things inherently provide him with a lot of what I would say is a cachet within the group to understand that this isn't someone who we just plucked out of the sky to talk tactics with you. This is a guy who's lived it, who understands this league, and we're hopeful and optimistic that he's going to do a great job. So I have all the faith in the world in Terry. He's really grinded for a long time in the coaching space, so I'm happy for him.